Got to pull up your stream.
All right, we are live. Cheers, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a special guest tonight. We have that bourbon dude, Charles.
How do you do
I don't know if you haven't seen his channel, you want to go check it out. He's at that bourbon dude on YouTube. I first saw Charles's video. The first video I saw of yours, you did a video about liquor stores and how much they pay for bottles compared to what they sell it for. And you kind of disclosed in that you worked on the distributor side for a while, so you knew what stores pay because you were actually in that business. So I just thought it'd be neat to kind of have you on and have a discussion. You know, I've been looking at your channel now for several months, and if people in my live here, if they haven't seen your channel, you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about kind of how you got into this.
So for me getting into YouTube, I saw a gap in the market, and I wanted to be able to fill that gap because there wasn't really anyone doing the abrasive content, if you will. I wanted to be able to put controversial topics out there and maybe not so much do reviews and things like that, do bourbon news, what's coming, and then give people kind of a look behind the curtain. Most people have never got to see like what he was talking about with the stores, what they actually pay. And me being in the industry for nearly 15 years, or just a little over 15 years, I had access to all that information. I still have access to that information. And I thought it would be really good for you guys to be able to see what they pay to help you judge how much you should actually spend on a bottle. Now, most people don't understand like how like the percentages and margins work and all that, but having an idea of what they're making, and you can just always take what they pay for a bottle, add 30%, that should be SRP, and then you pay what you think is fair for the bottle. And without me putting that information out, I don't think anybody else would have ever done it.
Yeah, that was the first time I've seen an actual list like that. So it was pretty interesting. Now, we are doing a series of our giveaways to our Patreons tonight, Charles. We're doing a barrel pick here in a couple of weeks down at Hard Truth. And whenever I do a barrel pick, I fill out the spots on the pick team with my Patreon members.
That's
so
awesome.
We got 5 spots to give away tonight. And I want to go ahead and get started and give away the first one before we kind of get into our discussion.
All right, let's do it.
All right, everybody. Good luck to everybody out there. I'm going to switch my presentation over and share my screen.
I recognize a few of these names.
Has it come up yet?
Oh, yeah, there it is.
See it? All right, here we go. Good luck, everyone. The first winner is, and I have shuffled this, so it's been shuffled 4 times. Sonda. All right. I'm guessing you saw the wheel spin. I was on the other screen.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Okay. So congratulations, Sonda. Yeah, she'll be joining us.
Sweet. Tell me about this pick. Do you know exactly which you're going to be picking from? You're going to do like sweet mash rye or bourbon, or what you going to do?
Yeah, so we're going to do a single barrel proof version of the sweet mash rye.
That's awesome.
That's the first thing I ever actually had from them was that sweet mash rye, and yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I had never even heard of the distillery when I had tried it the first time, And
Oh, they're so
this
good.
was,
I have so many of those bottles now.
yeah, and this was before, like last year, Hard Truth kind of broke among Whiskey Tube because a lot of people started talking about when they released their bourbon, and their bourbon came out really, really good for their first run. And at that time, I'd only had the rye, and I didn't know much about them. Then I saw people talking about their bourbon, and we couldn't get it here in Ohio. It wasn't anywhere. So my wife and we took a cross country trip to Colorado, and I made sure to map to that distillery on the way. So we actually stopped and visited the distillery, and I did a flight of their ryes, a flight of their bourbons. I just liked everything they had, and I was like, eventually I want to come back here for a barrel pick. So now we're going to do it.
Heck yeah. I think I discovered them by accident. I was just kind of in that Total Wine. Yeah, I think I was in like a Total Wine and I saw it. And I was like, okay, I'm getting into ryes. Let's give this thing a shot. And I picked up just their regular shelfer. It wasn't like a pick. It was just their sweet mash rye. I was like, wow, this is pretty good. And then I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole and started chasing bunches of different single barrels around. This single barrel here is from Sinkers here in Nashville. If you've ever been down there, they do some pretty good picks. This one is the darkest one I've ever seen. Like it's incredibly dark. A lot of them don't really have that deep, rich color, but this one's like midnight.
You know, I don't even have any of their single barrels. I just have their standard. I mean, I've had the single barrel, I've tried it, but I don't own one. I only have the regular bottles.
Oh yeah. Well, just the regular one is what was so good to me that made me want to buy more of them.
Yeah,
and
same here.
Just finding some of these are just incredible.
And I ended up being a real big fan of their 4-grain bourbon that they released last year. I really like that 4-grain.
I have yet to get my hands on that. I don't think we have it here. They only have like this one and then like the bottled and bond. That's the only couple that we see here.
Yeah, the only place I've seen is at the distillery. I got it when I was there, and I just absolutely love it. I've sent a bunch of people samples and stuff of it, but I told them I want to do a barrel pick of this, and they're like, well, our bourbon isn't ready for a single barrel program yet. So
a bunch of people got here.
Yeah, now more people are showing up. We did one spin, and Sando won the first spin. We'll be doing another one here shortly. But Charles, one thing that I saw a video on, and I reached out to you about, and I thought would be really interesting to discuss, was you did a video on does Whiskey Tube what's the effect on the bourbon community, or does it have a negative impact on the bourbon community? And you kind of did a whole video about that, and I found that kind of interesting and thought we could talk about it a little.
Yeah. So that all stemmed from me having a conversation with a local guy, and he was like, do you think that you guys have that much of an impact on the market? And I just kind of started diving around looking at specific reviews from the entire Whiskey Tube community, and then taking that bottle and then looking at trends in the market to determine if that bottle's availability went up or down after these reviews went out. And ultimately what I discovered is we have a massive impact, and it's regionally specific too. So as we were discussing prior to the stream, so many people just randomly have just started discovering my channel. But when certain individual YouTubers talk about a certain bottle and like that community rallies behind it, we've seen a massive decrease in availability. And then when that decrease happens, we're seeing a increase in the price. So yes, we affect it more than I guess we really want to admit it. I mean, by definition, we are influencers. I mean, if we talk about, this enough, next thing you know, the price may go up, availability go down, popularity of the product goes up. But like I said, I don't think that we take into account the effect that we actually have on the overall market.
I feel like we have a bigger impact on the smaller brands than maybe the larger brands, right?
Yes.
So if you see like Whiskey Tube, they get a hold of a smaller, maybe new craft distiller that they really like and becomes popular, you'll see it blow up across all the communities, right? I think like Holiday, I saw that happen where, never heard of Holiday, and then some people start reviewing it and giving it really good reviews. Next thing you know, everybody wants one. Right. So I don't know how much impact you may have on like a Jack Daniels, where they're already going to have massive amounts of people wanting everything they put out. But for those smaller distilleries, I think we could absolutely have an impact.
Oh yeah, with the craft distilleries, we probably have a bigger impact. As far as legacy distilleries, we have the biggest impact on their lower end products. Like I'm a big advocate for like JDS Brown, JW Dant. I think those are exceptional bottles for under $20. And a few of us was talking about those, and I just went into my local store. I normally can buy a handle of it, and I was like, what happened? We didn't get a shipment. They're like, no, we sold out in 5 seconds when the door opened. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, you guys were talking about them, and now we can't keep them in stock. I mean, this blows my mind. What is it? Kentucky Gentleman's Whiskey is now allocated in Kentucky, even though it's a bottom shelfer and it doesn't taste that good because people started talking about it for some reason, and now it is massively just become, I don't know, allocated and popular again.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to see some of that stuff with some of the lower end, like Early Times Bottled in Bond here in Ohio. It was really hard to get there for a while. It's just now started coming back. But that's something, everybody talks about. And you look at the Whiskey Tooth Fear or whatever, it's a very, very popular lower end, lower cost bottle. I guess I shouldn't say lower end.
Yeah, that specific bottle has probably been my pride and joy for the majority of my whiskey journey. I was drinking it way before people knew about it, before it was popular, really. And then now we're in that transitional period between the Barton's juice, Sazerac stuff being available. We should start seeing the new Sazerac blended version and produced, because we just now hit that 4 year mark.
4 years. Yeah.
And I think distribution is supposed to start at the end of April and be nationwide by the end of May.
Okay. Well, one thing I was thinking about watching your video, I think maybe our biggest impact as like the whiskey tube community is more on individual stores when you see the bourbon hunting videos, right? Yeah. So you go to a store and you find something, you put it out there, and that store is going to get swarmed. I had a store in Louisville I went to, and they had a Old Forester Black Label store pick. And those you don't see everywhere, the Old Forester Black Labels. And they actually had a price, it was maybe $10 over MSRP. So it was real close. It was well priced because, I've seen them a lot of places like 90, 100 and not, 65. And so I put the video out. A month later, I came back to the store again, and the guy recognized me, said, I remember you put out your video, and like a week later, our barrel pick was sold out. So and I was like, well, I'm a little channel. So that kind of caught me off guard. Like, and I had like 2,000 views on it. They weren't all from Louisville, but I imagine if somebody saw it, went and got it, told their friends, and their friends come get it. And, you kind of have that impact with those local stores or whatever store you're visiting. And you can make the bottle scarce. So if you're doing that with your local stores or someone's doing it to your local store, it can have an impact on you even.
Oh yeah. There's been plenty of YouTubers that has posted videos in stores, and I use local kind of loosely because I travel for work. So I travel 1,000+ miles every week. But when I say local, within 2 hours of me, I consider that to be local. And I see so many YouTubers posting videos from stores in that area, and I'll go by there and prices just went up or the shelves are bare. I'm like, dang, not again. They got another store.
Yeah, that's one thing about being in Ohio is with the price control, you don't really have to worry about that. They're not going to jack up prices because they can't. So, and it's also not like for the allocated, it's not going to be like all of a sudden you can't get it. It'd be just as hard as it was before because the allocated sells out as soon as it hits the stores around here because people wait for the allocation day. So they're standing in line, and when the allocation drops, it sells out. So you got to know your store and when they're getting their drop, and you have to already be there anyway.
Our area, you might know the delivery schedule, but you go in there and then you ain't getting anything at a decent price. There's a store just a couple miles down the road, and they've got like 15 King of Kentuckys for $6K a piece. They'll never sell. Yeah,
that seems to be pretty much all of Kentucky, honestly. I mean, Brad mentioned Ligma Town is what they call it. It's a place in Florence that they have just about any bottle you could want if you're willing to pay 10 times MSRP. You know,
Oh, yeah.
so I see that quite a bit down there. Pretty much anywhere I go, you can find really good bottles. It's just not at prices I'm willing to pay.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's amazing how the prices are just completely absurd here. And I hear so many people asking questions or like, "Hey, I'm planning a trip to Kentucky. Where do you think I should go?" And my first thing is Indiana, Florida,
Ohio,
Texas,
send them to Ohio.
Ohio,
Yeah.
California, places that actually have products at a reasonable price. People forget to take into account that we have around 1.3 million tourists that come here just to bourbon hunt a year, and that's just calculatable ones that they can verify through, just the bookings of hotels, not including the people that day trip to Kentucky, which probably accounts for another 3 to 500,000 people. Then you take that number and you add we have 2 million plus people here that are pretty active in the bourbon community. Now you're looking at 3.5 million people hunting in one state, and we have just a limited amount of stores. So the prices are just absurd here.
Yeah. Brad, I say Blue Label is a good choice. Go with it. West Virginia Bourbon Guide says Virginia ABC is going nuts. Jack 14 and Heaven Hill 19 dropping everywhere. Virginia is another price controlled state, right? I'm pretty sure they're price controlled down there.
It says, don't forget about the absurd point systems stores here in Northern Kentucky. Yeah. So when I was up there for the barrel pick for the new riff, I was pissed. I walked in that store and I was just like, they've got a good price on that. I think it was a Blanton single barrel, or not single barrel, but a straight from the barrel. I was like, oh yeah, 200. I'll pay it up a little bit for that. And he's like, it'll be 16,000 points. I'm like, what do you mean points? And he was like, yeah, you got to spend $16,000 in here to be able to get that bottle at that price. I'm like, no, I don't.
was it uncorked? Do you know if you remember? Because they do that. That's right there near New Riff.
It could be. It was late in the evening, and Tim was taking me around to places, and then I had looked on my way out of town too. But it could have been uncorked. I think that's the one that's by the bridge there, isn't it? I believe that's where that one's at.
Yeah, uncorks right there, but right off the off ramp. The other one is Stadium Liquor. That's a little more down in Covington. Yeah, Trevor, you're right. That's the two I know of too in that area.
It's just it's a sad deal. I can't believe they do that. So there was a couple stores here in our area that tried that crap, and they had points on basically everything above like a $30 to $40 bottle, and they were just trying to capitalize on something that they shouldn't have. And it took them like 3 months, and they went out of business because nobody would go there. Who's going to buy the cheapest of the cheapest just so you can earn enough points to buy a rare breed?
That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Now, the one store I've been to where you told me the area you live in is Top Dog Liquor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Over there. No, I did go there and do a shoot, and they have like brown bags. You can do like buy a brown bag, and they got stuff in it. And
great store.
Some of that stuff. Yeah. We got a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye pick from there. It's like 134 proof.
Oh, yeah. They do some good stuff. I've been going in there a little bit more recently than I have been, I guess, last year. I was too busy last year with everything going on in life, but I've been frequenting that store, and I've spoke with the owner a couple times. They're actually a 3-store chain. They have 2 other locations going back from Top Dog back to Nashville. They have Primetime Liquors, and then I think it's called like Coliseum or Colonial Liquors. I can't remember the name of it, but they're all tied together, and they do great prices. Another store in our area that has taken a hardline stance is Crocker's Wine and Spirits in Clarksville. This year, they have made like public announcement that they're going to do rock bottom prices, no secondary prices, service the community. They're remodeling the store. They've got a bunch of big stuff going on. They plan on doing a big end of year drop. I talked to the owner recently. He's thinking about bringing in some food trucks to set up, do a camp out so they can have plenty of places to eat and hang out for the day or 2 days, however long people want to camp out. they're expecting several hundred bottles available at the end of the year for people to be able to purchase all at SRP.
Well, that's nice. That's good. It's nice to see a store doing that. Yeah,
Mhm.
David, I agree with you. I like the OHLQ, the price control, the state control. We get stuff late. You got to stand in line, but you're never going to get ripped off. So
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah,
that's worth it.
I got hammered this past year. I did the Main Street liquor drop. They told us all year long they were not going to do these golden tickets that puts like 20 to 30 people in front of the first person. They made their announcement that they were going to be putting out all their BTAC and all their Pappy. There's going to be like 72 bottles of BTAC available and like 60 something bottles available of Pappy. And that would include like 3 Pappy 23s. So I went 4 days early to set out there with the wife.
Oh my
We were
gosh.
first, yeah, we were first and second in line. I'd rented an Airbnb. We camped out 12 hours before the drop. They came out, was like, yeah, we're not putting any of the Pappies in the drop. We're not putting any of the BTAC in the drop. We're doing secondary plus pricing, and we're
Oh my
also going to add golden tickets in front of it. And if you want to be eligible for a golden ticket, it costs you $500.
Oh my gosh. I think if I remember right, the video I was talking about that I first saw your channel where you kind of showed the list of prices liquor stores pay. I think,
Yeah.
didn't you have a follow-up video with a liquor store that emailed you and was upset
Yeah.
about you doing that video?
So mad. Yeah. So mad. I probably get, I don't know, 2 or 3 hate emails each week. And the guy was basically just telling me that I shouldn't do that. It's none of my business. He said that he's going to put the prices anything he wants. And if you guys are dumb enough to pay it, that's your own fault for being stupid. And I'm like, well, I'm going to educate everybody and provide them the tools that they need and the resources necessary to make an educated decision to combat against people like you that want to take advantage of people that may not have the necessary information to make a good educated decision.
Yeah, that's rotten that some stores do that. I mean, I can understand. I mean, you're in a business to make a profit, but there comes a point where the profit becomes ridiculous for what you're charging, right? I mean,
Yeah.
do you really need to make 15 times what you paid for a bottle or something like that? That's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, we have a store here. It's called Fancy, and I hate to even put it out because I don't want people to go there. But a Weller Green Label's $250 there.
Are you kidding me?
$250.
God,
Yeah.
the worst I've ever seen was Ocean City, Maryland, on the boardwalk. There was a Weller 12 for $2,400.
Oh my gosh.
That's the worst I've ever seen. I mean, I know that's a tourist area. It's on the boardwalk, but that still was absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's a absurd number. That's even crazy for Las Vegas prices. If you've ever been to Las Vegas, at least
Yeah.
like there's opportunities to purchase stuff at decent prices. Um, like $150 for a Weller 12 on the strip is not a bad price to pay, but you can get them every day of the week.
Yeah, you go off the strip and you can find stuff without being. I mean, I had it got this was 2 years ago. I got an Elmer T. Lee for $75 off the strip.
Yeah.
And then like Liquor Lineup too. If you're ever in Vegas, they're a good store to go to. It's Liquor Lineup too.
That's North Vegas, right?
Yeah, and they do a lot of barrel picks there and stuff. So, and they get some decent bottles.
Yeah. Like I'm all for people making profit, but when you're going to make it to a point where no one can afford it, and what's crazy is they do it in the most low income areas. That's what's crazy to me. When your average household income is less than 40,000 and you jacked up your prices to a point where it's either pay my rent or buy a bottle of whiskey, you're not getting someone to buy that bottle of whiskey.
Right. David, you're absolutely right. There's a difference between profit and price gouging. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spin for the second name for our barrel pick. So I'm going to move over to the wheel. Let me know when you can see that, Charles.
It's on my side, but I don't think it's in the feed yet. Maybe it is. Oh, there he goes. It's in.
Can you guys see that in the feed? Okay. All right. So here we go. Good luck, everybody, for the second spot on the barrel pick. All right. So congratulations to Eric.
Congratulations, buddy.
And we look forward to seeing you.
How many picks have you done
yeah,
so
there's
far
definitely
on
a
the channel?
difference between. So with the channel, we've only done one. We did our very first one was in January. We did New Riff. That was our first pick.
Nice. Yeah.
But we are scheduled to do one every quarter.
Awesome. That's
going
really good.
forward. Now I have done picks prior to the channel, like just kind of just with groups or on my own that I've done. I've actually done 6. I did 6 picks before we did the one for the channel. So
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been super busy doing picks the last couple weeks. Knocked out a bunch. I think it was like 13. I got to slow down.
Oh my gosh. So are you going to the distillery doing that many, or are you getting samples?
Yeah. No, I'm going to the distillery. Only thing that I got samples for was an Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to do any where I'm just picking samples, trying to throw bottles out there. I want the whole experience. That's why I like to go to the distillery, so I can invite my Patreons to come along and we can make it a whole experience, right? I mean, it's a lot of fun going to the distillery and doing a barrel pick for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So a lot of people, they always ask, why don't you monetize more on your channel to do things? So for me, my channel isn't necessarily about trying to extract money out of my viewers. I want to provide like free content as much as I can. My channel is just kind of the face of my actual business. So I do on the side liquor store consultations to help get them back on their feet, renovations of their store, and I also have a barrel picking assistance program where I go in and pick the barrels for stores that can't necessarily make it to Kentucky or don't want to do the mail-in samples and stuff because they might not get what they're looking for. They'll let me know like what kind of profile they're looking for, and then I'll go pick that barrel for them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a hell of a business. That's kind of business I would definitely love to be in. Let me go pick your barrels for you and you pay me for it.
Yeah. It's good. I like doing it. I like helping people out. And then I'm not going to say that I get access to better barrels because I think that would be just absurd to say myself. But I do think that consistently showing up at distilleries and they start knowing you by name, be like, "Oh, you're back again this week." I'm like, "Yeah, so and so store or whatever," and they start maybe getting not as many crappy barrels. They wheel out 5, and then the first couple picks you do with them, 3 might be kind of and then after you do 30 or 40 picks, you're starting to see like 4 really good barrels out of 5.
Yeah. That's how it is with New Riff. I mean, I've done 5 picks at New Riff now, and we always seem to get one barrel that's like really questionable. Like that barrel shouldn't be sold to anybody.
Yes.
And then you'll have some that are okay, and then you'll get a couple that are just really good. So it's kind of funny how that works out with them.
Oh yeah, and then I don't know that the amount of influence that like a small channel like myself has makes a difference on them wanting to put out better barrels for me. I mean, obviously they see the name and the email address when they scheduling the picks and stuff, and they're like, maybe we put out something, but like you take Bruzel's channel, I'm sure he has enough impact that he can potentially get better barrels, but maybe they don't. Maybe they just equal across the board. And take Green River, for instance. They just go through and they taste a lot of barrels, and then they earmark all these barrels that are available for single barrel program, and then they pick different ones from different locations, and they'll be like Rickhouse, whatever, floor, whatever, and they'll pick different levels for your 4 or 5 barrels that you're picking from, and that's what you get. And if you don't like it, well, maybe next time it'll be better.
Yeah, I think again that comes back to size of, you're talking about for the distillery, right? I mean, a small distillery,
Yeah.
maybe more like someone like Bruzel comes in, we want to cater to them. We want the glow from the channel. But someone like Heaven Hill, I mean, they're going to sell 1 million barrels and 1 million single barrels, whether Bruzel does one there or not.
Right.
So, but the thing is with him, when he goes in, he's not buying a barrel. He's buying like 5 and 6 barrels when he does barrel picks.
Right. Yeah.
Because of his size.
It's interesting to see how many barrels he puts out. I know that he's saturating the market with barrel picks, and I've heard a lot of stores talking about how the barrel picking has slowed down. Like they're not picking as many barrels because so many YouTubers are putting single barrel picks into the market. So it's kind of taking away from them. And some stores have even said that they would prefer that YouTubers are not affiliated with their store at all because it has a negative impact. Because if later on you're putting out a barrel under your YouTube name and it's not going to that store, the affiliation is no longer there. So it impacts them a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that affecting some.
Yeah.
But I know there are some stores that still do it, because I know another YouTuber who he works through several different stores in his area that, and all his picks go through the store. They don't come and, they're not available to buy like nationally online. They just sell through the store. Eric,
there's so many of the people doing whiskey outfitters or bourbon outfitters, whatever, selling their stuff through there.
Yep. Eric, congratulations. I saw you put in there, and Sonda, I see you're on now too. You did win the first round, so congratulations, you two. Yeah, there's certain online stores where I see that a lot of the YouTubers go to, right? I shared pours, they're on a lot. You said bourbon outfitters. There's some others I saw out in California that are working with a lot of YouTubers. Mash and Drum has crossed a few different sites. There's another Ohio YouTuber.
Yeah, he was on with me the other night during the we had like a conference call with Found North about their new release. They were kind of like breaking down some information about the complexity of this 8 blend or 9. Let me see. I think it's 9 different products all blended together to make this 18-year product that they put out.
Okay. Now, I just want to ask you because you like controversial topics.
Yeah.
What do you think about Bruzel buying a distillery and starting his own brand?
I personally, so if it would have been me in his position, and let's just like take him out of it. If I was Bruzel, if Charles was Bruzel, knowing the market as I do right now, I would have not invested the capital on a downcline in the market, especially with it being what it is. And then, I mean, let's take it to the fact that he purchased products that had been distilled from that distillery, and he himself even said that still was putting off bad products. Now, I'm not saying it's specifically the still itself. There's so many different elements. You have the quality of the grains, making sure that you're monitoring temperatures, barrels. There's just a bunch of elements into it. But the fact that he had tried so many different products that had been distilled from that location and none of them suited his palate, he thought they were kind of at best. I probably wouldn't have purchased that location. Now, if I was going to just start one, I may have just went with purchasing a new still and waited 18 months to 2 years for the production to be finished.
Yeah, that's kind of where my thoughts at too. Is he went and he purchased whiskey that the place had closed down because it wasn't really registering with people. They didn't think it was good. And now he's going to take that same whiskey and sell it, and if it's under a different brand, it's going to be good. And a lot of it was the small barrel aged.
Right.
I was just like, I don't know about that. That's
right. Yeah, if you're not putting
like the way to go about it.
I personally believe that if I was going to start a distillery, it would be 24 months or more from right now, because with the growing pains that everyone's going to be experiencing with the downcline in the market, the withdrawal of capital going into the bourbon market right now is going to impact a great deal on how people purchasing habits. And when you have a unproven product on the shelf and being able to get it into distribution, you're not going to be able to do it, because just selling his product through his channel is not going to generate enough revenue to offset his overall cost.
Yeah, Barry says he thinks that he's feeling the pain, and that may be one of the reasons he's dropping so many bottles. Yeah, I'm sure it's expensive to purchase all that equipment and purchase all that, juice and everything, and try to get that startup going. It's going to be very expensive for sure.
Oh yeah, I've looked at smaller operations, and like he's wanting a pretty substantial operation, being the size that he is. Like I think he'd said something about needing 8,000 square foot of production space. That's a lot of space for a startup. I know people that do much smaller operations, getting off the floor, and then eventually upscale. But like take some non-distiller producers like Southern Collective. They're a small operation. If you've ever been there, incredibly small. They focus not on distilling, but just sourcing the absolute best quality barrels. They don't call a broker and say, "Hey, I need 10 barrels of an 8-year rye." No, they actually go on location and hand pick the exact barrel. So they're cherry picking barrels. That's why their quality is so much higher than so many other NDPs.
So Charles has a question. He said, wouldn't it be wiser course to start off as an NDP like Bourbon Junkies and establish yourself before going to distilling your own stuff?
100%. That is exactly the process that I would do if I was getting into it. The model that they employed to develop their own brand was the perfect model. Like that would be how you would do it. Obviously, they're starting to source products now at a cheaper price now that we're seeing a drop in the market. And a lot of the barrels that were held by Barrel Craft Spirits have went back into the brokerage firms and are being able to be sold now at a much cheaper price. So they're looking at like a 50% reduction in barrel cost.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I also like the distilleries that didn't like. So I don't have a problem with non-distiller producers, but I kind of lean towards distilleries that at least end up doing their own stuff. Like I'm a huge fan of New Riff. I think the way they started out is perfect. They had a brand, they sourced, they sold under that brand while they made their own stuff and let it age. And as soon as they were ready to go to market, they discontinued that brand and started a new one. They didn't replace what they were doing with their own juice, because then, I'll take an example like Boone County was sourcing, then they went to their own stuff, and honestly, it's just not as good. Right. So you kind of like lure people in with that brand, and if you just start switch out what juice you're putting in there, it's not deceptive, but it's almost deceptive in my opinion, because you're giving the customer something completely different, but you're not letting them know up front, really.
Yeah, you're literally pulling the rug out from your customers and literally putting a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah, right. So I like the places that, you start out as like an NDP, you're sourcing or whatever, and then eventually you get to that point where you can put out your own brand.
Yeah,
I think that's the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. I think another issue that we're seeing too is the lack of transparency with a lot of the I'm not going to say legacies, because they're as transparent as I think that they're ever going to get. But if you really want to bring in additional customers, if you'll just say, "Hey, this is where I get my stuff. This is every like drop of information," your people will trust you more. Let me grab it. So this is the card that comes from Frown North for their media sample. It literally lists out every single thing that they put in it. They got 18-year corn and new oak barrels. They got 18-year corn whiskey and ex-bourbon barrels, 20-year corn, ex-bourbon barrels, 23-year corn, new barrel, 24 corn, ex-bourbon, 24 and new, 19-year-old rye and ex-bourbon, and another 19-year rye and ex-bourbon. They tell you every drop of information. I don't think that there's another non-distiller producer out there that is this transparent. It's impressive.
Yeah, well, some of them don't even put, I swear they don't even put where it's distilled. It'll just say bottled in.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they try to hide everything.
Yeah. Like don't try to like pull the wool over my eyes. Just be honest about your product. And if your product's good, your product will speak for itself, because ultimately if it tastes good, we are going to buy it.
Absolutely. I agree. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and spin for spot number 3. So I'm going to switch over. Just let me know when you guys see that. If you put something in the chat, Charles, if you let me know.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. You're on.
You ready? Okay, here we go. So spot.
I can hear it, but I can't see it moving. Oh, she froze.
Tracy, congratulations.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
We're back.
I'm back. Did you see the wheel spin? Every time I switch the screen, it wants to jack up my internet.
Yeah, it's all about that upload speed. I had to switch to like some massively impressive internet speed. Like I'm running like 900 megs a second just to make sure that my stream doesn't glitch out. And then still we have to rely obviously on StreamYard's ability to pump out our content straight to YouTube. It's a difficult process. Live streaming is so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm having better here, just like directly talking, like with the audio and stuff, than I did on Restream. But switching back, single barrel hard truth.
Yeah, they were asking what this one is. This is a Sweet Mash Rye hard truth single barrel from Sinkers. It's a 125.8 proof or 62.98.
Nice. Yeah, but even now with StreamYard, as I switch back and forth again, it's freezing. But I don't know. It's frustrating trying to find a good streaming software that's not going to cost an arm and a leg.
Oh yeah, yeah. We need to start like a national GoFundMe account so we can all the YouTubers like capitalize on the GoFundMe so we can get these daggum streaming softwares fixed out, because like there's so many platforms but none of them work for us. I mean, you still get limited bandwidth and everybody starts jumbling up, and like with StreamYard, so many corporate businesses use it just messes us up.
Yeah. So do you guys have any questions for Charles you'd like to ask him?
Yeah, I'll answer anything.
Certainly aren't shy. Get the neighborhood kids to turn off their Xbox. Yeah, Paul, I swear that's what it seems like sometimes.
How dare those little rascals.
Need to stream while they're at school.
Oh, that bourbon guy, sweet dude, like the name. I love it. We need to do something together. Do you have a channel? Does he have a channel?
He does. He just started one. That's actually a friend of mine.
Okay.
We're in the same bourbon club, and he's on my channel a lot. So he kind of started his own little side channel. He does a lot of stuff like he does like history of bottles and history of distilleries. He likes that kind of stuff. So
yeah. What's his actual name?
Paul.
Paul, reach out to me at charles@thatbourbondude.com and we'll put something together and we'll do a stream together. I'll have you on my show.
Here we go. Charles, Trevor wants to know what bourbon got you into bourbon.
So I guess the backstory of me. So my father and I used to go on fishing trips a lot, and the only time I was allowed to have any kind of alcohol at all was on these fishing trips. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this was the 80s. It was a little bit different. So we would be drinking, and I hate to even say this, but it was Kessler's. We drank Kessler's back then a little bit. And then as I got to be like 15, 16, obviously he was kind of like, yeah, let's try something different. So we kept drinking and then landed on Early Times. And I have been a Early Times fan for, let's see, probably like 26 years now, which I look young. I'm not as young as I look. Everybody thinks I'm young. I'm not that young. But yeah.
I don't look young and I'm not young. So Barry wants to know, and this is an interesting one. So he must be in your Facebook group because you have a Facebook group. And one of the things a lot of people in your group do is they do a chug. So they'll post videos of them chugging a bottle, and he wants to know what the story is behind that.
All right. So everybody asks this question, and I love to answer it because It is the ultimate thing when it comes to our group is that I try to impress upon people to stop taking whiskey so serious. It's just whiskey. I see so many people in just absolute rage in comment sections and being just angry and upset. It's just whiskey. Don't take it so serious. So I personally will take expensive, hard to get bottles to chug it to show that I don't personally hold that much value on whiskey. If you guys happen to see any of my streams from like on location in Nashville, I just take bottles around to people. Doesn't matter if it's a $20 bottle or a $200 bottle. And hey, you want to do a chug? You know, boom. I want people to be able to experience stuff, drink it how you like it. I don't expect anybody to do a chug video that they don't want to. A lot of people see me chug a bottle and they think like, oh, this guy is a massive alcoholic. But when you guys see that that chug video, that's probably all the alcohol that I'm going to have for a 7 day period. I'm only home 8 days out of the month. I travel for work, so I'm gone. That chug video is probably the only thing I drink out of the entire week before I come back home again. I don't really drink that much. Especially now that I'm a YouTuber, I drink probably 80% less than I did before. I was like inviting people over and we'd hang out, but now that I have to allocate my time towards making videos, I don't hang out with the people as much as I used to.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do our next spin because we're getting pretty close to 7. So I'm going to switch over once again and we'll get back to this next question. Let me know when you can see that. We're going to pick this 4th spot. Can you guys see the screen yet? Is the wheel?
It's stuck, but it's up.
Can you see the wheel?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Brad. So, person number 4, Brad, you will be joining us.
So before people ask,
all right. So congratulations.
This is what I'm
Brad.
sipping on. This is a discontinued Evan Williams. This is the 86 proof. It got replaced by the other shaped bottle that's 90 proof. I found these at a store for like $7 a piece, and I was like, I want every one of them. This is my favorite cheap pour on the planet. I just love this bottle. Even when it was full price and it was $11, this was
awesome. So this was a pretty good question. I thought we could talk about this. Do you guys think there are too many brands on the shelf in the bourbon space? I personally do. I think there are because there's been so many pop-ups that are NDPs that are really kind of selling the same thing. I mean, I think you got too many NDPs that came out all at the same time that just absolutely flooded the market. Every time I go in a store, like in Kentucky or Tennessee or Indiana or something, I'm seeing brands I've never heard of. Like it's just more and more popping up. I do think it's just too many. You can't buy them all.
Yeah. So I just did an interview with Ian Sturzman, master distiller of MGP / Ross and Squibb today. And I was just talking to him about the fact that when I'm standing in a Total Wine and I'm looking at all the bottles, 70 to 80% of the stuff there is sourced from them. And this leads into the question. Yes, I 100% believe that we have too many labels on the shelf. We have brand confusion at this point. Everyone is putting out 5 to 6 year old product that's just mediocre. If we had less brands on the market sourcing from one location, we would potentially have a higher age stated product with a higher quality. Today he said to me that they put out products for 1,200 labels.
Ugh, I believe it. I believe coming from MGP, I believe it.
Yeah.
Charles said he counters that with he thinks it keeps the larger producers from raising their prices. I don't know. I've seen nothing but prices go up from the larger producers.
Yeah.
I see the cost of the Russell's 15. I see the, it's cost of some of these other Buffalo Trace. Everything's gone up like $20 just from last year. It's not stopping them from raising their prices.
Yeah, I think I saw like the Weller lineup. It's going up. Like the green label is going to be $49.99. I got to get the price guide from my distributor to put out that next video. But like everything is massively gone up. Elmer T. Lee is going to be like 79 or 89 bucks. We're
it's already
expecting
$79.99 here. Yeah, it went up like 20 bucks.
Yeah, and I expect to see the BTAC show up on the new price guide. If I'm gonna guess, $179.99 will be SRP on them.
Brad wants to know, what do you think is the best bottle on the shelf? So easy to get.
So before I answer that, is it obtainable or just any bottle in general?
I think he means obtainable. So when he says on the shelf, he means you can walk into most liquor stores and it's there.
I'll give two answers. I'll give a bourbon and a rye. With the rye, it's going to be the Sweet Mash Rye from Hard Truth, 100%. Absolutely the best shelf stable. Yes, it's like $70 here. I don't know what it is with you guys, but I think for bang for your buck, crazy good. And now for the whiskey / bourbon, Jack Daniel's single barrel proof whiskey is incredible. And the reason why I didn't choose the rye for the rye option is because that profile sometimes seems a little hot for a lot of people, where I see the people when they try the Hard Truth, they feel that it's a little bit more approachable and palatable, and it gives you a total different experience.
So I am going to say the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye for the best rye, because it's my favorite on the shelf.
It's so good. I have like 10 of them. I love them.
I've got like 7 or 8. Yeah, I just can't get away from them. For bourbon, for me, I got a toss up between two. It's the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof. Again, I'm a huge Jack Daniel's fan, but also the Old Forester 1910. I just really, really love that bottle. I think that's like the best opener in the game off the shelf. So I find myself going to that bottle a lot. I really like that 1910.
It's a great bottle. I don't want to put Jack Daniels on any higher of a pedestal than they are at this point, because they're putting out some insane stuff. The fact that this 14-year hit, and everybody that's in the know knows that the 18 and 20 year is on the way, or 21 years on the way. It's going to be crazy. I don't know how limited that 21 is going to be, but just from the little bit of inside information that I got, I think I heard like 800 bottles of the 21, and that's going to be like 5 years from now.
Oh, geez, that'll be impossible to get.
Impossible.
David wants to know if we have Hard Truth in Ohio. We do, David. We have the Sweet Mash Rye, but it's not very many places. You'll have to look at the OHLQ map and find it. It's not everywhere. It's harder to come by. It's kind of just leaking into Ohio over the last year, so it's not here like in force yet. And of course, you won't find any single barrel picks. I don't know if you know, Charles, in Ohio, stores are not allowed to do single barrels. The state does picks, and what they'll do is they'll go get like 5 barrels of Jack Daniel's single barrel, and then they'll distribute those out to the 100 and something stores across the state. So like each state maybe get 1, maybe 2 cases, and that's it. So single barrels from Ohio are harder to get.
Wow. Yeah. With allocations being impossible, a lot of people here in Kentucky and Tennessee, we gravitate toward the single barrels because that's our only option for like a unique product. And I think everybody in Kentucky and Tennessee has 5 to 10 barrel picks at any given time. So we may not get any allocated stuff, but we do get some exceptional, and I do mean exceptional barrel picks.
Yeah, when we go to Kentucky, and we've made a lot of trips to Kentucky, we probably made 10 trips there last year. We could pick up single barrels because, yeah, we can't get them here. So we're always looking for good barrel picks when we're down there. One of our favorite places is John O's in Elizabethtown.
Oh yeah.
They do a great job with their barrel picks. I've got probably 5 barrel picks from there, and they're all just fantastic picks.
Yeah, they rumor is they're gonna have a Weller Foolproof, a 107, an Eagle Rare, a Buffalo Trace pick, and a Stag pick, all dropping at the same time.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
gonna be crazy.
those will be in their bundles and
Yeah,
slightly elevated prices. But if you factor in their bundle price, you're not really paying that much over SRP most of the time,
yeah, you're
except on
paying
those
a little
snags.
bit more on each bottle, but not in crazy prices. If
Yeah,
my
it's an
wife's still
acceptable
watching,
range.
yeah, if my wife's still watching, she's going to tell me we have to figure out when that is and get down there.
I always miss them. They were like 100 miles from my house, and even if I had a head start, I couldn't get there in time because there's so many people in E-Town that just absolutely love that store.
That's
I
fantastic.
personally like their smaller location better than I do their bigger location.
Absolutely, the outlet. Yeah, the
Yeah.
outlets. I found a lot better bottles at the outlet than I do at the main one. Yeah.
They always have the 117 Old Foresters there just stacked up.
Yep. Yep. They usually have Old Forester barrel picks there too. That's where we've
Mhm.
got a lot of John. We've got like 4 Old Forester barrel picks from John O's, and they all came
Yeah.
from the outlet store.
I think an untapped resource for Kentucky, and people think Louisville and Bardstown's like the ultimate place to go look for bottles. But Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I'm probably like exposing some honey holes of my own here, but Bowling Green, Kentucky has a lot of options, and there's a couple stores that do just insane barrel picks. There's a couple stores that the prices are just dumb, but there's some good stuff to be had there. And they also have a liquor barn there in Bowling Green. So even if you don't find something exactly that you want, you can always go to the liquor barn, have a couple nice pours at a reasonable price, and capitalize on some good food that's there in Bowling Green as well.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and run this last pick because we're getting close to 7. So
Yep.
we'll share the screen.
Good luck, everybody.
And good luck to everybody who's left. Just let me know when you see it. I know it's taking a while to switch over.
All right, you're up.
Good. Good luck. This is for the last spot. Congratulations, David.
There you go.
So David, actually, he's won twice in a row now. He won a spot on our new riff,
Oh
and he won
wow.
again, even though he had less entries. So he's awfully lucky. I wish I was that lucky when I go to do any kind of picks or draws. Congratulations, though.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Picks are always fun. Has everyone that has won tonight, have they all been on picks before? Or is this a first time for anybody?
So I'm not sure about Sonda, Tracy, or Eric. I know Brad and David had done them. If Sonda, Tracy, and Eric are still on, they can answer that question for you. They haven't done one with me or one that I know of between those 3.
Okay.
So Tracy said it's her very first one. So that's great. I love it when it's somebody's
Yeah.
first one. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's always a crazy good experience, and
So
I'm
yeah,
jealous that you guys are going to one of my favorite distilleries
Eric,
that I haven't got to visit yet.
Eric says it's the first time for him as well. So we got at least 2 first timers. I imagine it's Sonda's first time, she said. So we got 3 first timers out of 5. That's
That's
fantastic.
really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
that makes me happy. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we're
I
gonna have a
love
great time.
seeing.
And they gave us an
Oh,
itinerary, Charles. That's fantastic. They're going to give us a distillery tour. We're doing a single barrel pick. We're going to eat at their restaurant, and then they're going to take us on an ATV tour.
Oh, I've heard
So
rumors that ATV tour is like really amazing. Ken keeps asking what the
I'm
history
really looking
behind that.
forward to it. I think it's going to be a great pick.
Yeah, Ken's one of my guys. He's one of my moderators and
So,
stuff. And
well,
oh, the Hooters whiskey. I
okay,
found
so
it at a
Ken, well,
store.
Ken, why don't you tell us real quick about your Hooters?
Yeah, real quick. All right, so it was just a random bottle that I saw on a shelf, and it was like $22, I think it was. And I went to the counter to find out that it was only like $11. It was a discontinued, get it out of my store bottle, and I took it home, not expecting anything important. I just thought the fact that it was from Hooters, I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting thing that's different." Not expecting it to be good. I didn't think for a second it was going to be good because it looks
I
like
would hope not.
dehydrated
Yeah.
urine. Yeah, it looked like dehydrated urine. So I was like, okay, let me try it. And it was straight turpentine. And it's been like a novelty on my channel and the Facebook group. And if you drink it, it ruins your palate. It numbs your palate. Like it literally ruins everything. You can't taste anything after that.
All right. Well, everybody, go check out Charles's channel at That Bourbon Dude on YouTube, and he's got a Facebook group, That Bourbon Dude. Thank you so much for joining us. I thought this went
Yeah,
pretty well.
absolutely.
I thought I had a good time, and
Yeah.
maybe we can do it again in the future. I know you got another live stream starting here pretty soon.
Yeah.
And
In a couple hours or so.
okay, and I have everybody watching at 8 o'clock. I'm going to be joining the Bourbon and Balls live stream. We're going to go over some samples I sent them. So you guys tune in for that one. And again, Charles, thank you so much. And everybody else out there, I'll see you at 8 if you join us on Bourbon and Balls. And if not, then I'll see you next week. And congratulations to all the winners. And remember, until next time, the best bourbon or whiskey is the one you like the most.
Cheers, everybody.